Hey, this is Jim McKenna at Facilis Technology. I'm going to go over a quick start into FastTracker asset management system. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's my Mac desktop here. On the desktop I see that there's a volume called Craft that I've mounted with my client console here from my hub server. And from here I'll go ahead and launch the FastTracker Mac client. This is showing a domain name because I'm remote and I use a domain name to get into the server at the office, but this could be a public IP address. This could be a local LAN IP address to connect into the server. And admin with no password is going to give me access as default. This is a brand new install, brand new database, so we can add other users and add passwords and things like that later, but I'm going to go ahead in like this and show you the interface. Now the interface is pretty generic because this is the default interface that anyone would see if they come in. I can customize a lot of things about this, but let's first get into getting in some media into the database, because if I hit search here, you see there's nothing here because the database is empty. I'll go into my index, which is the client-based index. We have a client-based and a server-based. The server-based is going to be automated. It's happening all the time in the background. Client is things that you want to do, just indexing things in your desktop. I can either go to a path or files here, or I can just open up the volume. And I have a couple folders here, Surfers and Amsterdam. I'm just going to grab one of these and drag it in. And it gives me that path. I can do things like select other catalogs if I have any. Global is the default. I can select ingest locations if I want. If I'm indexing a local drive or camera card and I want it to be copied up to the server, I can do that all in one step. I can include or exclude certain patterns like file extensions or names, and I can set minimum size, so I don't want lots of small stuff. I just want to see the rich media stills and video and audio. I can do that as well. But I'll go ahead and index here, and it's going to go through, find 9 new assets in that folder, insert them to the database, and I'll just close that up, and that can continue going in the background if it was still going. And I'll just hit search here. Now I see here's a bunch of new stuff. So we have now data, media in the database, and I can either just select this and go through a thumbnail scroll, which kind of tells me what's going on in the clip. It's a very space-effective way without having to make a proxy to be able to see things on the screen. But if it's just a standard MOV or MP4 or even some MXFs and other media like that, even ProRes, I can still go to play the source here. Simply by going to my menu to play source, it will play that directly in the player here. So I can go through and check that out. And so now anyone who has this interface on their desktop, or even the browser interface that we also offer for FastTracker, can now go through and play this down as needed. Now if I want to make a proxy, I'll go to all of these and I'll go to the proxies area. Well, there's no proxies there yet because this is a brand new database and none have been set up. So good time to go into the admin interface. Now admin looks a little bit different, but it has all of the operations, auto indexing to go in here and index volumes automatically on a regular basis, analysis if I want to go in and set up analysis for transcription, or even if I have AI set up I can do that. And then catalogs. My global catalog is the only thing I see here, but I can add more catalogs. Let's get right to proxy presets because that's a pretty popular one. So I'm just going to go with default H.264, and as default settings are going to be H.264 for the most part, but I can go into custom settings. I can set up an FFmpeg line that gives me a ProRes codec or anything else I want. I can actually do MXF op Atoms as well for Avid Media proxies. I can choose 1080, or if I want just a real small preview at 640 or frame, I can do that as well. I'll stick with 1080 here. And I have different options of faster and medium quality and things like that. I can add time code burn in as well. And then I just choose where I want it to go. The easiest way is to just do a relative path. And the relative path is just going to be, well, show me the file name .mp4, since I know that's what it's going to be. So this is a pretty common way to do it. File name with the little percentages marks on the outside of it just means that whatever the file name originally was, just make it that, and then with an MP4 extension. And then path, I can make a folder in the same location called proxies. And the proxy folder will be generated at the same time that the proxy is generated. So it'll be within that source location. So I can add the preset. This is just going to be available for me to use. So I'm just going to leave here. And if I just do a refresh here, you'll see that I now have a create proxy here. So I'll go default H264. And then you see each of these records now has a orange P next to it. And so all of these different status bubbles, you can go into the menu here to the help menu and see all of them. So we saw the green S before. Source files are locally accessible. They're on your desktop. I have other things like archive flags and offline if it's an offline cache for LTO or cloud. And source files reside in a volume that can be mounted. You just don't have it mounted right now, but you can mount it directly from FastTracker. Or you can't mount it from FastTracker. It's not accessible to you, and it's going to show up gray. But you can still see that. You can still see the proxy. You can still do all you need to do with it. You see that P is orange. Proxy generation is queued. So here I can just go refresh, and I bet you we're done by now. Well, almost. So we have a bunch of them already done. So I'll turn off my play source since it's still trying to play the source file, and I'll go in and now it plays proxy. You see there's a nice timecode burn in there. And now that plays through as a proxy file, probably a bit smaller than the original. And if I go to my main assets only here, I can say main assets with attached. And so each of these sort of drops down into a proxy. You can see here that from the 48 megabyte, well, that wasn't very big anyway, but from 48 megabytes, I dropped down to under 10 megabytes for the proxy. Normally, if it's a 4K file coming in, you can get down to 1 or 2% of the size of that file just by doing an HD proxy for it. So it makes it really easy to use either for editorial purposes or just to preview here in the window. So just getting back to main assets only, so we'll go back there. And they're all completed, all the proxies are there. So now we have proxies that we can play back or we can use for editorial if we want to, since they are timecode accurate. We have metadata that we can add, so I can have metadata here. I can add keywords, I can add notes, I can do whatever I want to here, or I can add markers. So if I go to a certain timecode point, I can add a marker here, which is going to allow me to say, start here. Any notes I want to send to the editor later on, that those markers will move forward into Adobe and into Resolve and soon into Avid Media Composer with those software developments that we have for those different applications. One more thing I want to show you is that most people won't be indexing from the client, they'll be indexing from the server. So I'll go back to the admin and set up an auto index, and auto index is indexing on the server. So you see here, if I go to my Mac and I go to that craft volume, I just hit open. It currently is set to manual, but I'm going to set it for every hour. That's pretty safe. So every hour it's going to go and start up an index. You see now it's indexing that volume. You remember before I only brought in a single folder of that volume, and there were 2 folders in there. So that's going through and indexing now, and I can just set this in the background and it's all happening on the server. So anything else that gets added to that, once an hour, it's going to go through and index everything and show me those new records. So here you see if I go into my search again, well, there's a whole bunch of new files there that have been indexed, since now that's in the background indexing everything I need. And these, once again, they don't have proxies yet, but easy enough for me to do that. Just select all of these. Once again, go to my proxy location. I need to be in metadata. Go to my proxy location here, and I can create a proxy. Same thing, default H264 proxies. They all go and queue up proxies, and any operation that we can do here, including file operations of copy and move and analysis operations, those can all be automated as well by metadata, by location. Anytime something comes in, it can be proxied automatically, it can be moved or copied automatically, it can be analyzed automatically. So there's lots of things we can do in the background, but this is a really quick view of what the client can do in terms of indexing proxy generation or queuing up those proxy generations and adding metadata, adding markers. Okay, thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.